Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 10. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit special. We're going to be using animals as part of Lumostone puzzles. So I showed this off in a building episode last week. If you guys haven't seen that, basically what's behind this door is one of the brand new animal spawners, and we're going to use that in such a way that it spawns one and only one animal, and then once it's finished it will let us through a new door. So we're currently on a public version of my test island so that I can quickly try this out on camera and show you guys how this works. So this one is pretty simple. We open the door up and the door is open for 3 whole seconds. Once the door is closed, I'll hit the target up here because the target spawns the animal. So here we go, we're going to spawn the animal in. We'll get ourselves a little snow fox. And the snow fox is now the target for this Lumostone puzzle. So basically, if we keep hitting the target, we're not going to get new spawns. And I need to actually kill the snow fox to get back out of this area. So here we go. Almost there, and bam. So once the snow fox dies, the door opens back up and we're free to go. But of course, we can also come back in here. And if we hit the target again, it does absolutely nothing. It does not respawn the animal. So basically, we don't want this to happen because if you're running through a Lumostone puzzle and somebody resets that, they could depending on how you wire your Lumostone, they could accidentally shut the door on themselves. They could spawn in another animal, which could be very bad if they're trying to move on to the next area, that type of thing. So yeah, that is just a quick little demonstration of how this stuff works. It is a pretty simple system that literally, as I said before, spawns in one animal and only one animal, and you need to kill that to be able to move on. So let's take a quick look at how you need to build this thing. Okay, so to make this, first of all, you're going to need a room. Now, I've just made my room really simple. It's just a 5 wide room and a little bit deep. It doesn't really matter how deep. All you need is a room that somebody can't escape from. So I have 4 high walls, which is good enough for most people. Some people with good jump gear and so on will be able to jump out of this, but it's a good start. So on top of the room, you need your inputs and outputs, which are a destructible target, a door, an animal of any description. I'm using a pig in this case, and a pressure pad. Then, in terms of gates, you need 4 Lumostone latches, 4 AND gates, and 5 NOT gates. Now, these 4 latches you can use. Well, one of these latches is not necessarily needed if you're only doing one animal, like I've done over here. But if you're doing multiple animals, you definitely need a latch, and you're going to need new latches for each of the animals that you place down. Anyway, we'll have a quick look at that in just a second. So to start with, we're going to set up all of the inputs and outputs. So we're going to place the door in the entranceway. We're going to place the animal down in the middle somewhere, and we are going to place the target on the back wall. I prefer to place my target 3 high so that the player can't jump up on top of it, and then therefore get themselves out of the area. And then finally, we're going to place our Lumostone pressure pad down out the front here, just like this. Okay, so now that that is sorted out, we're going to go through and try and build this thing to work exactly the way we want it to. So basically, this time around, I'm going to do something a little bit different with the outside door. I'm going to use the target to close the door again. So it's going to be, you open the door by stepping on the pressure pad, and then you close the door when you hit the target and spawn the animal. So the way we're going to do that is we're actually going to use one latch out the front here. So we're going to throw a quick latch down out here, and then we're going to hook the pressure plate here into the on for this latch, and push that latch into the door just like that. Then we're also going to go inside, grab the target, and put the target to the off for the door, just like this. So now, if we just quickly test that small section of this web, you'll see that we stand on here, open the door, and the door is going to stay open until such time as I kick that, and there we go, the door now closes. So that's perfect. This means that I don't need to have any timers or anything, and I know that when the animal spawns, the door's going to be closed, and that's perfect. We like that. That is really good. Okay, so that is that latch set up and done and dusted. So now we actually need to work on the spawning element of this system. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use another latch, but this time to make sure that the system only spawns an animal once. So what we're doing is we're actually going to run a latch here, and we're going to run a NOT gate in front of it, and we're going to run an AND here. Now what we're going to do from here is we're going to hook the animal cage up into the on for the latch. Now basically what this means is when an animal spawns, it sends a signal out. So this means the first time an animal spawns, it's going to send a signal out and turn this latch on, which is perfect. That's actually really good, because that means when we run that into here and into there, just like that. So we're going to run the latch into the NOT into the A side. So that means that if we then run the animal up into the B side of this AND gate, sorry, not the animal, the target, here we go, break that line completely. So we're going to run the target up into the A side, so into the B side. So what this means is that when we hit the target, it is going to activate this AND gate, because at the moment this NOT gate is on because the latch is off. But what that's going to do is once we hook this stuff up, it's going to spawn the animal. The animal spawning is going to cause the latch to turn on, which means that this NOT gate is going to turn off, which means hitting the sensor again and again and again is not going to do anything, because this AND gate here is not going to allow it to do anything else. It's just going to sit there exactly as is. So up until this point, we've been doing everything in such a way that you can add more and more animals to this system, and the setup is pretty much the same. So this setup you only need to do once, and this setup you only need to do once up until this point. Everything else from here on out you will need to do multiple times if you want to run multiple animals. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set up a little system that will ensure that the animal actually spawns when we tell it to spawn. So first of all, we're going to place down a latch. Now there's a lot of latches in the system. This is probably the most latch heavy system I think I've ever built. So we're going to place a latch down facing this way. And what's going to happen is this latch is going to be hooked up to this AND gate here. This AND gate here is our please spawn an animal button. So we're going to hook our please spawn an animal button up to the on side of this latch, and then we're going to run the latch down to the pig, just like that, or to the animal, whatever animal. And obviously, like I said, you need multiple of these for each animal, or so you need one of these at least for each animal that you want to spawn. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to run a rising edge gate here. So I'm going to place down a NOT gate and an AND gate, and we're going to run that from the pig. So from the animal, you want to go up to the NOT gate, and you want to go from the animal up to the A side, up the top here of the AND gate. Then you want to run the NOT gate into the B side of the AND gate. So that's a little rising edge pulse. And then we want to put that into the off side over here. So basically what we've made here is a little circuit that stays on until such time as this animal down here spawns. Because this is one of the problems that I had when I first built this, is that sometimes 1 second or even 2 second delays are not enough to force the animal to spawn. So what we need to do is make sure that the signal stays on the animal until such time as the animal spawns. And when the animal spawns, the output of the animal turns on, which kicks this little pulse and turns this guy off again, which means the animal stops spawning. So there you go, you need one of these for every animal that you want to spawn. So you, like I said, you can do 2 or 3 or 4 animals, but each of the animals needs their own little spawn pulse, just like what we've done here. So that's all well and good. We now have the animals spawning in. So the next thing that we need to do is actually know when the animal has been killed. So when an animal dies, the signal that is being output turns off again, which means what we actually want to do is we want to go ahead and place down a falling edge pulse. So that's this little guy over here. So that's 2 NOT gates and an AND gate. Actually, here we go, just like that. So that's 2 NOT gates and an AND gate. And what we're going to do is we're going to run from the pig up into both of the NOT gates. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to run the back NOT gate into the front NOT gate, and then we're going to run the front NOT gate into the A side of the end gate. Now, the reason we're doing the end gate is for island protection reasons. Now, if you don't quite know, I have a video on doing rising and falling edge pulse stuff where I explain all of this better, so go check that out. That is in the video description right now. Anyway, to finish off this rising edge and falling edge gate, we actually need to do the island protection circuit. So this island protection circuit you only need to do once, but you need to run it into all of your falling edge pulses. So the island protection circuit is a NOT gate and an AND gate, and the NOT gate goes to both the A and the B of the AND gate, and then the AND gate goes into the B side of every single falling edge system that you do. So you only ever really need to do one of these per island, really, and every single falling edge pulse you do from then on out just gets a signal from this guy. So there you go, that is now the system. So this is going to receive a pulse when the animal is dead. So that means that we can now, in this particular instance, we can run that directly into the on for the door and open the door back up. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to run that into a latch. Now, this latch, we're going to use the latch so that you can actually run this thing as a system. So if you wanted to have 3 animals and spawn 3 animals, you could just do the stuff we've been doing. So all of that, all of this, or sorry, all of that and all of that over there 3 times over, and then you have 3 latches which are the output to your circuit, and you just need to AND all of those together to get the signal to open the door at the very, very end there. So finally what we're going to do is we're going to run this latch, because this is our output to say that the pig is dead. We're going to run that latch down here, and that is going to open the door to let the player out. So there you go, that is the animal trap puzzle piece for any Lumostone puzzles that you decide to build. As I said before, you can do this with multiple animals and have multiple animals spawn at the same time, and then rather than running this line, you run AND gates to AND together all of the outputs of all of your animals, and then you run the output line from the AND gate down to here. You can then, of course, have multiple animals, and all of them need to be killed before the door opens. Of course, you can do this completely differently to the way I've done it. You can use your output to trigger anything else you like. You could have a different door open, or you could have a trap door, or you could have a staircase made out of floating platforms, or whatever you like. You can do anything you really want to with this particular output. You don't need to open up the same door that people went in through, but that is also a way you can do it. So there you go. I hope this one has been interesting and useful to you guys, and I will see you in the next video.